Hi there, everyone. It is currently the 12th of July, 2014. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you today. If we take a look at the satellite picture out here right around 11 a.m. Japan Standard Time, that's about 02 Universal Time, what we can see is actually quite a boring picture, sumaranai, as you would say here in Japanese, because we are seeing clear conditions across Japan, a few isolated storms across parts of China, and really the tropics. It looks quiet outside of a tropical depression right here. Possible Rasmussen. It still has not been upgraded by JMA, and JTWC actually downgraded it during the overnight hours. So really the most active storm systems still remaining off here towards the north. This is actually the past 6 hours in lightning out here, and take a look at that. A lot of storms flaring up there across parts of the Yangtze River Basin. The rainy season front really setting back in. Quiet across Japan, some storms there in northern portions of Luzon, and really the big topic actually for northeastern Asia has been the warm air. Following behind Naogori, the temperatures just surged up out here, and you've actually been seeing in Osaka on Friday upwards about 38 degrees Celsius, so things just baking. If you're in the tropics, actually, these temperatures much warmer than what they are down towards the south. It's gonna slightly cool off this weekend, but it's still hot and humid. Actually, I think the GFS model is being a little passive on these high temperatures here, because mid-30s in many areas is very well possible, even for our friends out there in the southern Japanese islands. So stay cool, stay hydrated, everybody, but stay safe, because the big topic still is, and let's scroll down on this picture, our tropical depression. And that's the biggest topic, because right now it is pretty weak. 56 gusting up to 74 kilometer per hour winds via the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. But as you can see here in the forecast, it is expected to continue to intensify up to eventually, and JTWC is being so aggressive with this, 157 gusting to 194 kilometers per hour. You can see right there, I'm unable to pull up the JMA forecast, and the reason is it's still a tropical depression via them. 30 to 45 knot winds, and they actually don't even expect it to become a tropical storm until Sunday morning, but previously they expected it to become a tropical storm here on Saturday, and since then they've backed off on that, and like I said, JTWC dropped it down to a tropical depression as well. As far as its impacts on Guam, for the most part, actually, we saw some breezy conditions out here. You can see right here in miles per hour, you have your winds maxing out around 15 to 20 miles per hour. I mean, that is some breezy conditions, but it's nothing too intense. Also did see some thunderstorms during the overnight hours. The bulk of that radar now pulling off there towards the west, and it does look like conditions will be gradually improving out there for you. So some good news with that as the storm system does push off there. Actually, all tropical warnings for Guam have been dropped at this time. It does look like really no special weather statements remaining left over with this, and over the course of the next several days, you're just going to be seeing those afternoon thunderstorms, but temperatures remaining into the high 70s to low 80s out here. So afternoon thunderstorms are really going to be the biggest topic with it. And you can really see the bulk of the rainfall actually removing and starting to move off there towards the west. And I'll go ahead and show you this. This is a trimmed satellite imagery, basically just showing you the past rainfall over the course of the past several hours, and really the bulk of it's still remaining off here towards the north, and it does look like we're still seeing those scattered thunderstorms, especially across parts of Saipan, really blowing up the last several hours. So really the rest of Saturday, you're still going to be seeing those scattered storms, but as I mentioned previously with the radar imagery, it is moving off there towards the west. Taking a look at the current satellite imagery, though, it is slowly getting its act together as well. A lot more organized than yesterday. We're starting to see this move off there towards the west, and really the vertical wind shear is remaining relatively low. Sea surface temperatures just baking across this area, so that's going to provide a lot of really just heat energy to fuel into the storm system. And what I mean by vertical wind shear, sometimes people ask me about that. I want to show you this. This is on our Meteor Earth app. And we can see our storm system developing up here. Now, this is going into Sunday morning. See it down here towards the southeast. You have those winds really circulating here. And the color of these wind barbs, that really just shows you how strong the winds are. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go show the upper level winds. Now, this is pushing it upwards about 10,000 feet. Those colors don't change too much. It extends farther towards the north, and that indicates vertical wind shear. But right around the center of circulation, it doesn't change all that much. Now, where you have high vertical wind shear is into the westerlies here. See, look at this. The winds are relatively low at the surface, but we're going to push it up to about 20,000 feet here. You have the jet stream coming through. There's a huge difference, and that difference between the low-level winds and the high-level winds, this is called speed vertical wind shear. If it was changing direction as seen here, you have the winds actually coming in from the east towards the west there. This is way up there, about 30. That's a really upper levels. But yeah, that's called directional vertical wind shear, and we're seeing very little of that over top of the storm system and throughout the forecast. It looks like the speed and directional vertical wind shear will remain very low. So that is why the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is expecting the storm system to continue to intensify into a strong system, maxing out there 95, gusting up to 115 knots. Now, I keep on saying that because it does look like they're really following in with the GFS model. It's been persistently aggressive with a southern Luzon landfall. This type of landfall would be really bad news for the Manila because you would have those winds wrapping around and definitely bringing some heavy precipitation, some rough weather out there for you. Also, the thing with the GFS and the NavGem, both, they do expect this to continue to move off there towards the west, and really the high pressure ridge remaining in place, and that's the key thing with this storm system, Vice Nalgori. The high pressure ridge is not giving way. Nalgori was able to wrap around the western periphery of it, but it's just remaining in place there. You can see in these areas indicated in the blue. So what we're going to be seeing is that continuing to track west and possibly even affecting our friends there in Hong Kong. And that's from the NavGem model, compared up with the GFS model, both of them expecting the storm system to push over Luzon and eventually off there towards the west. So that's really some key things we're going to be watching. At this time, my personal opinion, I do think we could see a severe tropical storm or a weak typhoon somewhere in Luzon or possibly northern Visayas. Now, am I saying that's going to happen? And the forecast is still subject to change because this storm system all over the place on the map, it's intensifying, it's weakening, and really, I'm not 100% on it at this time just yet. I'm going to zoom right in on Manila because this is something I also do want to mention. Despite it being strong or not, we're going to be seeing afternoon thunderstorms on Monday by Tuesday. But watch this as we head into Wednesday. The rainfall really kicks in for everybody as this storm system approaches. Even if it does stay weaker as the ECMWF model is showing, and it shows that center of circulation farther towards the south, you're going to be seeing widespread rainfall across all of the Philippines. And there is that high possibility of flooding. Even if we do see just a tropical storm, high possibility of flooding across most of the country, especially Luzon and Visayas, as we look ahead into Wednesday and eventually over towards Thursday. If it comes in as a typhoon, it's going to be flooding, also the winds. Good news is northeastern Luzon. This area out here really is built for typhoons. It's very rural, and the buildings that are there are kind of up for the challenge, unlike farther towards the south when we talk about Tacloban or areas into Mindanao when we had a high income through, and also Bofa just prior to that. Any storm systems in the north, I mean, you get like one of the most strongest storms to ever make landfall in recorded history was Meggy, and really that caused limited death tolls out here, and that's because it hit northeastern Luzon and around the Apari area. So this is something we're going to watch, everybody, and yeah, I'll keep you updated here at westernpacificweather.com. Trying to stay cool out here in Tokyo. Please let me know what the weather is like where you are, though, wherever you are watching from, and as always, stay safe out there. Bye.